Emotions are running high in the Bronx after the Yankees were swept by the Astros, heading into one of the biggest off seasons in New York baseball. Let's break down the Yankees front office with New York Post MLB insider Ian O'Connor. Ian, this is New York sports. There's no such thing as a 24-hour rule. Let's get straight into it. 13 straight years that the Yankees have failed to reach the World Series. Fingers are being pointed all throughout my social media. So is the Yankee front office to blame for this most recent collapse?
Sure, Brandon, of course. Brian Cashman assembled this team, which wasn't nearly good enough to beat the Astros and get back to the World Series for the first time since 2009. But I would also blame, as I did in my column in the Post today, Hal Steinbrenner. His father, who I covered as a columnist, set a tone in that organization every day of accountability and urgency. And he had considerable flaws as a person and owner, but that win or else mentality you had to embrace or you could not survive in that franchise. And Hal simply hasn't matched that urgency and that tone of accountability. And I think the results of his leadership or lack thereof speak for themselves. And as far as the Yankees not getting to the World Series now in 13 years, and I think that he has to, after last year publicly criticizing the players, he needs to look in the mirror.
Oh, and you're talking about how Cashman assembled this team. With this current team, could you see the Yankees winning a World Series in the near future if Cashman remains?
Well, first off, Brandon, you'd have to tell me, are they going to sign Aaron Judge? I understand he struggled this postseason as he has in the past, but he's one of the two or three best players in the sport. So the Yankees will not be better if he's playing for somebody else. If they re-sign him, they still, to close the gap on the Astros, they need to get better at certain positions. Shortstop, they have to get better offensively at third base, and they absolutely need better pitching to match up with Houston. So let's see what they do this offseason. They need to have a great offseason to close that gap, and I'm not sure they can get that done.
All right, well then, I'm going to throw out three names. Tell me who stays, who goes. Brian Cashman, Aaron Judge, Aaron Boone.
I think Brian Cashman is back. I think Aaron Judge is back. And Aaron Boone is a 50-50 proposition at best. I asked Brian Cashman after the Cleveland series about Boone's status. And had you lost to the Guardians, would you have made a change if you're back yourself, Brian? And he said, listen, he's not an issue with me. I think he's very good at what he does. But that was before this sweep. So there's a lot of public pressure to make a change. I personally would make a change because I haven't seen growth over 5 years in Aaron Boone. I don't think he's a bad manager. I think he's decent to pretty good. And I aspire, if I'm the owner or GM of the Yankees, for something better than that. But I do think it's about a 50-50 call as to whether or not Boone is back.
Ian, thanks for breaking down the front office, and thanks for taking the time out for joining us.
Thanks, Brandon.